Hello, Flosstube, and welcome to episode 7 of Needle Notes with Stitcher Trish and her nerdy husband, Steven. I am Stitcher Trish, and I want to thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Where we are right now, it is January the 6th, 2021, 3 o'clock-ish in the afternoon. We're in North Carolina, pretty much in the middle of the state. Steven and I have had a wonderful, wonderful break. We are teachers, so we've been off for the last couple of weeks. And life update is we spent the time in each other's company. We called family and did the holiday thing, both Thanksgiving and Christmas, over the phone and FaceTime, and ran up and dropped off gifts at the door. And so we spent the time together, and we've been doing little projects here and there, and doing things around the house and that sort of thing. So we've had a good time, a really great break, and we hope you've had a wonderful holiday season as well. To all of you that have come back, subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. And please, those of you that are new, would love for you to subscribe and come back and hang out with us. For those of you that don't know, that a Flosstube is pretty much just a Flosstube YouTube channel about cross stitch, and I'm a cross stitcher, and so what I'm going to do today is just share my cross stitching adventures with you. And Steven is along for the ride because he's a wonderful husband, and he also is behind the camera and doing all those things for me. So just to go ahead and jump in a little bit, things that I've been working on. So I'm a high school band director. And we are back in the throes of marching band. We started about 2 weeks before break happened. So I spent a lot of time making bell covers for my brass players. These are just things that go around the outside of the bells for all the brass players, so that it limits any kind of droplets and particles from coming through the instrument out. So we rehearse outside right now. We're not going in the building until we absolutely have to. But all the brass kids have that, and then the kids wear their masks, and we've modified masks so that they can play through the masks. So I spent a lot of time making these bell covers, and I had a great time doing it. So and that was fun. So I had a lot of finishes on bell covers. And then that cut into my stitching time back in November, so I didn't have much to show you, and so we didn't do a December Flosstube. But since we got off for Christmas break, I've had lots of time to stitch. Got some FFOs done that I'm going to show you today. Fully finished objects, for those of you that are not into the acronyms for Stitcher folk. So let me go ahead and show you those things. The first thing I want to show you is the Allessandra Adelaide Attention Dragon. I finished this, I think, late October, if I remember correctly. I did do a complete color conversion on this. It is done on a 16 count Aida that I dyed with RIT dye, just some blue. I think they call it indigo in the RIT line. This is the first time I've ever dyed fabric. I had a great time messing around with this fabric dye. But I finished it with Silks for You, just a couple of skeins of a remnants bag that I purchased from Silks for You out of Australia, and then did some beadwork on it, and then I dyed it after the fact. So I was able to get this pillow cover made. So all I did was measure the size of my pillow and make a pillow cover out of this fantastic dragon fabric that I found. And so you can see the finished product here. It's just, I had the pillow insert, and yeah, it sits on, I have an ancient telephone table that was from my grandmother's house. So this sits in our telephone table in our dining room. So I'm very excited to get this done. I love this fabric. It's just, blues are my favorite colors. And anyway, I love everything about this piece. Then last time I showed you a partially finished tired trio from Plum Street Samplers. Well, I finished it up and had time, actually I did this early this week, to turn this into a cute little pillow. The backing fabric that I used is actually from my grandmother's stash. My mother had my grandmother's fabric stash. I mean, she sewed clothes forever. So this came out of some old stash. So it's vintage, and then I had some lace that I put around it. So now it's a cute little pillow, and I'm going to start finishing little pillows to go in a dough bowl. I have my great-great-grandmother's dough bowl. So it's a big dough bowl. It's going to take a lot of pillows to fill it up, but this is the first one to go into my dough bowl pillow collection. So those were my two FFOs, along with just a finish of the Tired Trio. So next thing I wanted to show you is my finish of Rosewood Manor's Crosses of the Kingdom. Okay. I did this on a Legacy Linen Edierdown. It's a 36 count, and I used DMC 310, 1 strand over 2, and the Petite Treasure Braid Gold. Obviously 1 strand of that, well, not obviously, 1 strand of Petite Treasure Braid. And if I had gone with a 40 count, which was my original intention, the Petite Treasure Braid would have been too thick to work in a 40 count linen, but it worked just fine in the 36. It's a little fiddly to work with on a fabric count this small. I almost wish I'd done a 32, but it turned out beautifully. It is at the framers. I'm excited to get that back. They told me about 2 weeks I should get this back, and we'll show it to you all once it's back from the framers and ready to be hung in our office. Stephen is a former pastor, and crosses in Christian symbology has always meant a lot to me because when I was really little, my mother wove chrismons for our church. So these crosses are gorgeous. I love the gold accents. I didn't change anything in this pattern. It's exactly the way it was charted from Rosewood Manor. Great stitch, just wonderful, wonderful stitch. I'm very, very proud of that one. And with the Tired Trio, I did not say this, that this is a 36 count Fortnight Fabrics. It's one of the fabrics of the month. I believe it was the October one, but I won't promise you it was, called Verdigris Agaric, which is a mushroom. It's a light green, so that was what I did that one on. So let me get into the newest start that I have. My birthday was in late November, and this is my birthday start. It is the Long Dog Samplers Templar Prophecy. This is all of page 1 and just the part of page 2 to finish up the dragon, because I couldn't just halfway do the dragon because dragons are my favorite thing. So I finished up the dragon off of page 2. It's most of page 2 except for the border. What I'm doing on this one is on a 14 count Aida with just the plain black from Silks For You. I bought an entire hank of Silks For You in the black, and I've cut it into 18-inch lengths, and I'm doing this with 2 strands over 1 block of Aida. It's coming out really very thick, very full, which is not my usual preference. I usually like for my thread to not completely cover the fabric, but in this instance, once it's all finished and framed, I really want the person looking at it to have to determine, is this actually needlework or is this an ink or a portrait of some type. So it's coming out so thick and it's just beautiful. It will be primarily done in black with a few of the Templar accents in the red. So I've not gotten to anything that I'm going to do in red yet. That'll primarily be inside the shield of the knight and little spots where the red will show up. It'll not be a great deal of red. But this is a fun stitch. It's well charted, easy to follow. I'm really enjoying this. It's going to take a while. Like I said, this is only page 1 and a little bit of page 2. And I can't remember for sure, but I think there are 12 or 14 pages of this bad boy. So you'll get to see this a lot over the next year and a half, 2, 3 years, something like that. But anyway, it's off to a great start, and it'll come back up in my rotation. The next I'm going to show you are just a whip work in progress. This is Dragons of Sumatra from Ink Circles. I started this mid to late summer. I like working left to right and top to bottom. So I tend to want to complete all the way down and then go across. So this is all of the first 3 pages on the left hand side, and I've started the second page from bottom up. So I went down and now I'm working bottom up. So you can see the progress on that. I think since you've seen it last, I've finished the second page and then I'm working on the page up top. But this one is on a 40 count fabric called Ancient by a dyer that's on Etsy, who no longer has an Etsy shop open. I'll link it below, but right now the shop is closed. It was on vacation for a while, but the shop is actually closed, so I don't know if she's going to open back up. Love this fabric. The floss I am using is another Silks for You, and it's their red, and I'll link that below in the description box so you can see all the colors. And again, I bought a full hank. And when you order from Silks for You, you have to be aware that they're in Australia. So shipping takes a while. I ordered both of my hanks before we had the crazy shipping stuff going down, and it still took about a month and a half. So when you order, you just know that you've got to be patient. It will come, but it's going to take a little bit longer. But I love working with the Silks for You. It pulls very easily. It doesn't knot. It's strong, beautiful color. Just wonderful, wonderful silk. And I really like working with the silk. If you've not worked with silk, it's worth the investment. I highly recommend it. But again, it's a 40 count. I'm using one thread over 2 on a 40 count with the Dragons of Sumatra. And my next work in progress is one I started on New Year's Day. This is from Dr. Christie, and I will link her Instagram and her Etsy shop and her YouTube channel below. She's a floss tuber, but she is primarily an embroidery person. So she does all these things I don't know a great deal about. She's beautiful work. She is a medieval historian, so she tells great stories and gives you history. Great channel if you haven't checked it out. But she started an Etsy shop, and this is her temperature library for 2021. So she has an embroidery version in her shop and a cross-stitch version. I'm doing the cross-stitch version. And I just went into my stash and pulled some of my 14 count Aida. I have probably 3 yards of this that I've had for 20 plus years. So I just went in and pulled some of that. It's going to be pretty big. But what I have in so far is just the top of the bookcase and the shelf for January. So from left to right, it's all the days of the month for January and the high temperatures in our region. So it's going to record the temperature for every day. My plan is to sit down on Sundays and put in the temperatures for each week, and have this thing completed by the 31st, which should be a lot of fun. It'll be really neat to see how it turns out. So lots of fun with that one, and I'm using 2 threads of DMC over 1 Aida square. So that's how that one's working out. So those are my works in progress. Next, I want to show you my haul for both November and December. I belong to the Be Stitch Me Silks of the Month Club, which is a really affordable way to get some fantastic silks into your stash. So you get 5 skeins every month, 50 yards of floss, and you never know what you're going to get. And so far the colors have just been fantastic. So for November, these are primarily very fallish colors. From left to right, the first one's cacao, then there's cinnamon, black walnut, biscotti, and the last one's called naked. So these are the November colors. Then there are the December colors, and these are just beautiful blues. I love every one of these. The first one left to right is Nautilus, then Frozen, Arctic, Nebula, and Ice. So they're just beautiful, beautiful flosses. I'm excited to add these to my stash. No plans for them right yet. Then I belong to the Fortnight Fabrics Fabric of the Month Club as well. I did that in 2020. And the November color is Dryad Saddle. Very, very pretty. It's a little bit of orange, brown, fallish color. Gorgeous. And these are named after mushrooms. And then the December one is Nordica Black Truffle, which to me seems a little more purple than anything else. Again, both beautiful pieces of fabric. And I got these in 40 count because 40 count's my favorite. And I subscribed to their club for 2021. I chose to do the grays. So I'm excited to see what I'm going to get upcoming in this next year. And next in my haul, I'd like to show you the bead pack. I was given a little bit of money for my birthday, so I splurged and purchased the bead pack for the Mirabilia Snow Queen. Working on getting together all the things so I can get started on Snow Queen sometime this spring-ish. So here's the bead pack, and that's very excited about getting into that. And the beads will go on last because I prefer to bead absolutely last, but it's a ton of beads and they're just gorgeous. So I'm excited to use these. I have ordered some fabric for this Snow Queen, and I've gotten started on getting the flosses. Most of them are going to be DMC. I got a couple of specialty in there that I've got to actually place an order for. So my plans for the upcoming next month, Dragons of Sumatra, I'm going to spend probably another week or so on that one. When I just get to a point where I just need to put it away, just get kind of tired of it, I'll pull back out the Templar Prophecy and keep going on that, as well as continuing on my weekly filling in of my temperature library. I hope to have Snow Queen put together in the next month or so, and then whenever I get everything for that one, I plan to try to get started on that one. So just kind of working on the things that I've got in rotation right now. I don't have plans to start something else, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. So anyway, those are all the things we have in the hopper right now. That and I think Stephen's going to put together some vests here pretty soon. He bought patterns and fabric to do some vests for himself. So he may sew those, or I may. We don't know yet, but that'll be a fun adventure for us to do together as well. So I need to update you on our shop. We have an Etsy shop called Foreverusneedleraft, and in the shop there are a couple of new bags. One's been in there for a little while, and the other one will be added this week. These are just vinyl front fabric, vinyl front project bags with the dragon motif. So the inside is, you can see the dragon scales, and the outside is just this great kind of gothic print. There's the blue and the red, and those are the two new things going in the shop really soon. The links to get to our shop are below. Not only are these two new bags in there, but there are also, I don't know, 8 to 10 other different styles of bags and colors, a ton of needle minders and scissors fobs. So please go check out our store. We'd love to have you visit us. So again, thank you so much, and y'all take care.